Hi, this is Miss Lisa, the Pinellas Park Sewing Lady from Pinellas Park, Florida, United States of America. Today, we are going to do a little bit of stepping back on the project we started last time. I noticed that there were some measurements that we kind of left out and probably need to do a little recheck on our pattern. This will become clearer as we go on. Today's temperature, because actually we're getting warmer here. Oh my God, thank you. It's 71 degrees Fahrenheit, 21 Celsius. Yes, please. I want it to be just a little warmer. It's not so bad right now. Nights are cooler, but I want the daytime back. So, we're going to move on. And we are going to start looking at the pattern we already started. And we're back. And as you can see, Mr. Xavier's helping Mom. Take a look at my computer. If anybody wonders why I don't get out my stuff as often, that's Xavier's input. It's all O's. Yep, he's being his cutie self. But we're going to take Mr. Computer away and see. He's probably going to want to check out what we're working on. So what we're going to be doing is we are going to be looking at the pattern that we started last week. One of the things that we didn't use in our measurements that we should check is that measurement that went from the shoulder to the waist and then the shoulder and down. The reason we want to look at this is because even though the center front never changes, this area, yeah, it can change because your shoulder, one shoulder could be higher than the other. And in my case, I do know one is a whole inch shorter than the other. So Xavier is going to help a whole lot today, as you can see. What we're going to look at here, yep, see, this is how work gets done here. Got to move just a little bit that way. Yeah, thank you. And what we're going to do is we're going to do the shoulder on the left side. Well, this is going to be the right side the pattern's showing, and that's 17 on mine. Well, that's 17 inches from the inner line that we made all the way down to my waist. And when I did this, I didn't add that in. And oddly enough, that brings it down to here. Right there. Now, that's where my waist should have been. Now I take that back. I take that back. Yep, that is my waist. Alright, look at the difference. So, if everybody uses that measurement and they go across, the thing is this is where my waist was. Now how do I do that? Good point. Most people don't have an extensive amount of space there. And now we're back with, as you know, my little weight here. You know, it's holding down the pattern. And he's going to make it really interesting for me to do what I have to do today. So, we are revisiting the pattern that we did last week. There's a few measurements that you may have thought about and said, hey, why didn't Miss Lisa comment about these measurements? Well, they're the measurements that change your pattern completely. What I gave you already would be a rough draft, very rough draft. This time, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be kind of double checking some of it, and the other part is some of us need to accommodate a little bit more of us than a straight rough draft would allow. Now, if you recall, there was a measurement that went from the middle of your shoulder seam and it went down the front. And it was, let me see, that had to be the shoulder to the waist, and because this is the right side of the pattern, that would make it number 10. And if I do this one, I'm just going to draw a quick line here with my pencil, and then I am going to look at what my actual number was. And for me, that turned out to be 19 and a half. Okay, well, right now, my waist is at 18. That means I have another inch and a half below it. Now this is the middle of the pattern. And when you look at this, you're going to sit there with, oh my God, how are you going to fix that? Well, one thing would have been to put a dart in. We didn't do that because we decided we were going to do something that was quick, easy, pull over. So when it comes to that part, not so big a deal. Later on, we're going to be looking at putting a dart in to make the change there. For us, it'll probably hit us down in the hem. So when we make our muslin of this, you'll be able to see that maybe some areas are a little higher, some are a little lower. This is going to be really important to keep an eye on because you want your hem to be nice and even all the way around. So this is very important to remember. The other thing was I guess I was a little bit cheeky when it came to how many inches you can use for, you know, the comfort factor. Well, when I went back and I looked at my own, I had this baby way hanging out there. Yes, I did redraw my pattern to do this. And I realized that for my underarm, going out more than an inch probably would make one of those ugly armholes that shows all your bra and everything else. So I decided I'm cutting that back to about, oh, a ½ inch. Because that's going to be a full inch on each side when we're done. And when it came to my waist, I've already allowed for the spread factor. So I can actually let my dress go for maybe 2 inches, which would probably be a nicer width. Not too big, not too small. So I'm going to put a little mark there. And for my hips, well, if I'm just going to go out 2 inches on that one, I might as well go out maybe 2½ inches on the hips, because the hips always want more. You know the deal. So I'm going to mark them off, and I am going to, if Kitty's tail will move just that little bit, we're going to get that marked and then that marked. Alright, to that extent, we're all together now. And as I said on the last one, I'm not doing mine all the way down, but this portion all the way down is whatever your actual dress length is going to be. So that part is all up to you. I don't want to tell you that you can only wear one dress style, because I don't wear just one dress style. If you notice, I'm actually wearing something that fits me for once. I'm getting there, girls. I am getting there. I'm going to have clothes that fit me. Okay, that's all we need to do with that front one for now. Don't lose it, because we're going to need to go back to it after we do the left side. Or not the left, I should say the back. We'll deal with the left side once we get into doing our muslin. Now for this deal, a certain kitty I know, ooh, big boy, has got to go into his chair. Because Mama can't move paper. Oh, He's going to come back and play, so I guess he's going to be part of the game. Alright, now we're going to be working on the back. Alright, the back is a lot of fun. Main reason, there's not so much room to make your back neck. When you think about it, most of the dresses you have, it doesn't hang way low. I mean, even this one is really only, what, let's see, 2 inches below the bone back there. Remember when we made their measurement, we had to touch that bone there? Yeah, that's like 2 inches down. On here, that ends up about there. That's not a lot. But we have to consider comfort. When we're making our patterns, this initial pattern here is not the comfort pattern. This pattern is your actual body measurements. So, when we did our neck at the back, it came down about 3 3/4. And I know freehanding is not everybody's thing, but you can make it square, rectangle, whatever you want at this point. Just remember, you want to allow for having your seam. And a point to be made about your seam. You probably noticed there's an angle going there. I'm just making a slight angle so you realize that yes, that is. Now you may have noticed that the shoulder seams that I have done are a little bit angled, but if you look at your shoulder, it's a little angled too. I probably didn't mention that on the first one, mostly because it's probably going to change a little bit. I'm just giving you a little angle because that gives you an idea of how much of the pattern is actually your shoulder seam. Because a lot of times that kind of gets left off somehow. Okay. Remember that measurement we had, 24A? That was that upper bust measurement. Now, I got a full circumference, which meant all the way around. And because patterns are done in 1/4, that means you divide the number by 4. And in this case, 4 into 40, 10. That's what my numbers were. So I got off easy. I only have 10 inches. And it's best if we put a line straight across for that. And how did we get to that measurement? There is a question that I have never answered for you guys. First of all, what I did was I did a center of the shoulder seam down to my waist. Mine ended up a little bit over the edge of my waist in the back. Not by much. And then what I did do, it was a separate measurement, but I did take my seam and I measured it from up here. I used my shoulder seam here on my dress, and I came down to where my armhole is and across, and it came out to 9 inches, and that's how I got that depth. Because you probably wondered, how did she figure out how big that armhole was going to be? Well, that's what I ended up with. And so, actually, I'm sorry, it was 8. Mine was 8. And that's how my armhole is right there. So that's how that number came out. And that was 8 from the very middle of this top seam here. You got to remember the middle, not the corners, the middle. So then I came across here and I did that 10 inches that I was supposed to. And then because I knew where my waist was, I put a mark across, and that would be number 4D on your chart. And here I put it, a line right there. Yes, I have some lines already penciled in, because otherwise I'd be as lost as you are. Can't have that, can we? Lots of little lines. I should put all these in for you guys so you get a good look at them. This is that center one that makes a diff. And then there's this line here. And that was the one for the upper bust, where mine was 40. And we came across. Alright. We have this deal here of getting a decent back armhole seam. This is the hardest part to do for the back, and it required several measurements. And I'm pretty sure we did not get those measurements done. I'm going to leave them for the next time we do this, because I'm going to have Ann back. She's not here right now. And we're going to have those measurements added. See, if you miss one of these, you miss out on something. So don't miss one of my shows. Okay. Now, like I told you the last time, hips, 7 inches below the waist. Maximum of 9 if you're very tall. But for the most part, I haven't met very many women that do the beyond 7 inch. And that has been the classic measurement for that since way long ago. And I've got patterns from the 1800s, so I do know that one. And we do a 7 off the end here. And that hip measurement was the, let me take a peek. It was your hip. This is a sitting one, so it's 5D. And in my case, it's 12 1/4 inches. And I'm trying to get this lined up with a kit butt in the way. Now we just do like we did the last time. We basically do dot to dot. If you think you can do a straight line up, go for it. I know I can't. I'm angled a weird way. The back is normally between 1 inch to 2 inches smaller than whatever the front's going to be. So keep that in mind when you go to add your ease. Now, if you recall right, our ease is what makes it a little more comfortable. If you look at my dress right now, look at all that ease. There's a lot of ease there. See, if I pull this baby right in like that, it's definitely got ease. But it's comfortable. And it falls nicely. And what more do you want, right? So, when you consider ease, you might want to look at the clothing that you already have. If there's a dress that you look killer in, and you want that kind of comfort, pull that dress out, measure it, see how it fits at the waistline, at the hip, at the hem. That will be your go-to measurements if that's the style dress you want to wear. If you want to wear something a little different, then we have to look at the style you're choosing. Some are really very narrow, very form-fitting, and some dresses are not. The ones that are not usually aren't just cut the same piece. Usually they have a waist line and then they have a separate piece of fabric to make them very wide. But if you're making a dress, it's all one piece in the front and all one piece in the back. Just consider you're not going to make it go too far out because A, the fabric may not let you, and B, sometimes fabric, going out quite that far may not be the one that works for you, because you have a lot to do when you want to be doing that. So now we're going to take a break, and we're going to have a couple of new things to do. One thing we're going to do, we're going to look at another one of my girls. Just got her. She hasn't been named yet. I'm pretty sure she's going to be named Dolly. She's a dressmaker. That's her name, not just what she does. And she's an oldie. She's probably from the 50s. At the latest, early 60s, but I'm believing 50 by the squareness. And she's quite a piece of work here. She has a place to put cams in. She makes all kinds of zigzag. She does straight stitch. And I've already taken her for a spin, and I gotta say, she's quite a ride. A little on the noisy side, but that could be because she hasn't been worked out much. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful piece. All metal. Gotta love it. All metal. Love this machine. Little push buttons. Who wouldn't love push buttons? Come on. And she sews like a pro, so she's my best. And I got a package in the mail, and it's all sewing stuff, so I thought I'd share with you what does come in my mail, because I get a lot of stuff by mail. I have a friend whose name is Lisa Anthony. Thank you, sweetheart, for sending me packages. She finds little things for me because I collect all kinds of sewing machine related items. And I got a big fat package. So we're going to see what Lisa Anthony sends to me. And the first thing is manuals. I know we had a mention on our page about everybody looking at their manual. Well, because people give me sewing machines, sometimes I don't get a manual. And I know how to sew with them, but sometimes there's little things I'd like to know. Oddly enough, there's probably only one in the whole group that I don't actually have. That's amazing. And Lisa didn't even know, because she just said, I'm just sending you a bunch, just, you know, have that. So here I go. This thing's kind of neat. It's actually the home sewing accessories and supplies for my Necky. Now I have a Necky. She's under a lot of junk over here. We don't really want to pan and look at her too much because she is under siege there, because Miss Lisa is not the neatest person in her sewing room. So things get thrown wherever they get thrown, and the sewing machine that's up is usually the one I'm sewing on for the moment. Miss Necky, she's having a little pouty time, so I'm leaving her be until I can figure out what's wrong with her. But see, look at that, books, and they're all about sewing machines. Then, because I collect buttonholers, yeah, hard to see probably, there's a little picture of one on here. I'll pull one out for you guys sometime and you can see what I'm talking about. But these are neat attachments. Then, I know some of you girls have never seen one of these, but oh, you gotta own one somehow, some way. This is the Ruffler Pleater. It is a phenomenal piece of ingenuity. It makes pleats real tiny but perfect. So you definitely want one of them. And doing the ruffling on them, the ruffle is perfect. It's sitting right where it's supposed to. And we have a kitty trying to make his way. Then we have what I call my tchotchkes. Tchotchkes is anything that I can use towards my sewing machines. Sometimes pieces like this, I get a sewing machine and it doesn't have one of these. This is that piece that covers the bobbin. These all belong to Singers. These little guys here. And There will be times where I can find 20 of them, I get rid of a few, and then I can't find any. So that's the important thing. Anybody that owns a Singer knows if you don't have this, it's very hard to sew without it. And then this little guy, he pushes onto the regular one and gives you just a little extra post there. Then we have little parts, another buttonholer piece, but it's not like the big buttonholer. This is like the buttonholer. And this little guy here, for those who got the right Singer, can make chain stitch on a regular sewing machine. Kind of neat. This, for those of you who are beginners, this can be quite the toy to have. What it does is it's called a gauge, and it keeps your, if you line your keep your fabric lined up against it, you can measure off from the center where the needle is over, say you want a 5/8 inch, you can measure over 5/8 inch, lay that down, screw it in, and it will help you do your job. But these are all little things that she sends me, and I'm more than grateful because there's always something new. This is a foot that I don't own one of, so really cool, Lisa. I believe it's the fringe foot, and you just don't see them anymore. I mean, I've got a kit that says it's a fringe foot, but it doesn't have this big thing in the middle. And then we just have little things like hinges. Those always come in handy because I never know if I'm going to get a hinge. And, you know, just some other extra items. Even a few screws in here, which, yes, I appreciate them because you don't know what it's like. You're working on a sewing machine, you drop them, and you can't find them. I do have Mr. Magnet, but sometimes even he doesn't find them. But I thought you guys would like to see what does come in the mail for me. And this isn't the only stuff. I get a lot more stuff. And I'll let you guys see them as packages come through. So I think we're just about done. And when we come back next week, we will definitely be working up towards our next phase. And at this time, I want you to consider the fabric that you're going to use just to cut out a pattern. You're not going to make this to be your final dress. This will be a fabric pattern for you to use. So thank you so much, and we will see you later. Bye.